Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Second Lieutenant Brock Prairie here. Today's video is going to be another fitness video. I've decided to kind of move away temporarily from the OCS Army specific related videos like Cyber Bolic, Cyber OCS Basic, and also away from some of the literary analysis. So the next few videos are probably going to be more fitness related. I'm just kind of trying to hop around. My approach to many of these videos is just kind of what I feel like. I'm not doing this to get clout or anything or to get like a YouTube following. It's mostly just what I feel like on the whim. So anyways, today's video is going to be a video for maybe new lifters. It's not going to be specifically for Army bros or military bros, but I'm going to kind of, pivot in that direction and going to, use it as a perspective for new lifters in the Army. So I'm going to be mentioning a lot of application of lifting to things like Ranger School, RASP, maybe improving your rucking and things like that. So it's going to be in the perspective of an Army bro or Army gal, sorry. But all this is going to be applicable to new lifters or advanced lifters, whatever, people who want to just try out rucking. So for starters, if you are new to lifting, I'm going to kind of go over what's important, maybe how to start lifting, some programs I recommend, how to approach it, what you can expect in terms of timeline of gains, things like that. So first off, as a new lifter, you have the benefit of what's called noob gains or beginner gains. Now, noob gains is essentially within your first 6 to a year of lifting, you are going to make a tremendous amount of progress versus someone who's been lifting for, let's say, like me. I have been lifting for maybe 7 years, not competitively or anything like that, but I've been lifting for 7 years. So what you can gain in a year as a noob is going to be relatively more than what I can gain as an advanced person. Now this isn't always true, but for the most part, it's going to take a lot more for me to increase my bench by, let's say, 20 pounds than it is a new person from lifting. So you have that benefit. If you are weak relative to what you want, let's say you're only bench pressing, I don't know, the bar, you're really struggling with lifting the bar and you're like, damn, like what the hell? Fortunately for you is within the year that you start lifting, even 6 months, you are gonna have a lot easier time bumping that 45 pounds of the bar to 135, which is 45 on each side, 135. So that's one of the benefits of beginner gains. And fortunately, there's some studies that show that within those first couple of months, like 6 months to a year, whatever, diet, sleep, caloric intake, protein intake is not as important towards getting those gains. You'll still be able to progress. Not optimally, but you will be able to progress. That being said, you should, from the get-go, get in the kind of routine of eating well, sleeping well, and making sure, I'm not saying you necessarily have to start counting your calories, but make sure you get your diet under control, kind of know what you're eating, things like that. So there's the kind of incentive of starting to lift right away. You will start to see the beginner gains pretty quick. By 3 months, you yourself will probably notice your own gains, and then by like 6 months, people around you will start noticing. So it's not going to be an overnight thing, and I think that's a lot of people get discouraged about that, but put in the work and you will reap the benefits. And it's not just the aesthetically pleasing part, everyone likes looking good for the girls or guys, whatever, but how you feel. It's when you lift and you can see in the mirror, you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, over this last 6 months, I've been putting in the work and now look at me. It's a physical manifestation of the hard work that you've put in. And that's why I think lifting is it's so important for people who are trying to develop themselves. Now, it's not the only way someone can achieve that same self-development, but it's the most obvious in my opinion, because there's no other, maybe there is, but for me, there's no other profession, there's no other hobby, whatever, that physically manifests itself like lifting does, physically manifests your hard work like lifting does. So reap those benefits. If you are in a hard place right now, if you are struggling with self-image, give lifting a try. And it doesn't even have to be, getting huge, whatever. Give cardio a try, like push yourself so you can physically see that you are a better person now than you were yesterday. And that's what it's really all about. That's why I love lifting. Is over these years, maybe I'll add in the video of a picture of me in high school versus now. I was 135, I'm 200 pounds now. And it's obviously there's some hormonal change going through, as you go through puberty during high school, stuff like that. But I still put in the work, and every day I look at myself, I'm like, I gotta get better. I gotta get better. I'm ready to push myself now. So if you're a new lifter, use that as motivation. I'm not saying it's wrong by any means to, lift for women, or if you're a woman or whatever, lift for whoever you're attracted to make, aesthetics. Sure, that's fine. But in my opinion, I find it a lot more fulfilling if you lift for yourself and to just strive every day, to struggle. You're in that pain, you're hurting, but you push on, and it's very, you can apply it to everyday life, which is why I think it's so beneficial. Anyways, I kind of digressed a little bit, but so if you're a new lifter, one of the programs I recommend is Candito's Starting Strength program, I believe. I'll link his website below. It's a free program, and Candito is a power lifter. I don't know too much about him, but I used his program when I first started lifting, and I saw the most gains that I had probably to date. He's an excellent resource to use. He has a YouTube. He seems like a great guy, but his beginner lifting strength program is a linear progression, and I believe it is a full program, PHUL, and that, if I recall correctly, stands for power, hypertrophy, upper, lower. So I think it's a 4 or 5 day program. I think you can choose, but essentially you do a power upper and lower, and then you do a hypertrophy upper and lower. So your first day might be your upper body power, which is a lot more intensity. And then the second half of the week is upper lower hypertrophy, which is you're doing a lot more volume, you're doing more reps, and it's less weight, more reps. So that's how I split it. And every week you're adding on 2.5 to 5 pounds. So for example, if my bench this week was 135, next week it's gonna be, I'm gonna add 5 pounds, it's gonna be 145, or sorry, I think it's 5 pounds to each side, or maybe it's just 5 pound to go. So it's either gonna be, my point is you just linearly progress. And as a new lifter, that's gonna be a lot easier than you would think. And within months, you're going to be seeing your bench, your deadlift, your squat, your overhead press increase. You're gonna see your muscles getting full, your physique's gonna be looking nice, you're gonna be feeling good. So Candito's linear progression is one of the best beginner programs that I can recommend. Of course, there's others. Some people like Starting Strength. I think Starting Strength is kind of a meme. That being said, I'm not an authority on any of this. So if you find Starting Strength works for you, use it. That's really what it comes down to, is using what works for you. So I'm gonna go into diet, some caloric intake, finding your TDEE, sleep, stuff like that. So first off, try to find your goal. Are you trying to put on muscle? Are you overweight right now? Or maybe you're not even overweight, but you want to cut down on the body fat. Find the reason why you're going to start lifting and kind of your short term, your 50 meter to 100 meter goal. So if you're going to try to put on muscle, if you're trying to bulk up, if you find yourself kind of lacking for muscle and you want to get bigger, then you're going to want to eat at a caloric surplus. So what that means is each person, just naturally by being alive, burns a certain amount of calories. This is excluding any physical exercise. This was like, if I was just sitting here, how much would I be burning naturally? So you can find that number, and then what you do is you find that number. So my my TDE, which is my like daily expenditure, whatever, something like that. It's how many calories I'm burning daily. You take that number and you are going to eat above that number. Now, I believe the TDEE also incorporates kind of how active you are. So if you go to a TDEE calculator, it'll be like, oh, how active are you? Moderately active, blah, 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 and then it'll give you a number. But essentially, you know, for example, I think mine ends up being like 2,800 calories is my maintenance. I would have to look into it, I kind of forget. But essentially what you do is if you're trying to gain muscle, you need to, or if you're trying to bulk, you need to be eating at a surplus. Now, a healthy surplus is about 500 calories. That will kind of negate you getting fat in the process. It's kind of what's referred to as maybe a lean bulk. But there's also a thing called dirty bulk where you just eat whatever you can get your hands on. Doesn't matter how healthy it is, you're eating McDonald's, whatever. And I guess that works too, but at the same time, you're gonna be putting on a lot of fat and a lot of unhealthy mass on that you're gonna eventually have to lose anyways. So some people prefer just going with the lean bulk where you're watching what you eat and it's a slower bulk where you're eating a 500 caloric surplus, but you're avoiding that body fat percentage increase. You're avoiding the getting over like fat essentially. Now, if you are currently overweight or if your goal is to lose body fat, lose weight, the opposite is true where you're gonna want to go in a caloric decrease or caloric deficit. So same thing, you're gonna find your TDEE, you're going to eat at a caloric deficit. Now, I don't know exactly, I think it's like 3,500 calories is about a pound, is kind of like the conversion. So if you're eating at a 500 caloric deficit daily, then it's gonna take you a week to lose a pound. And that's a pretty healthy amount. You don't wanna be pushing losing 2 pounds or more. I mean, you can if you want. I'm not advocating or whatever, you do you guys. But typically a healthy amount of kind of caloric deficit is about 500 to like 1,000 depending on your goals. So that's that. I'll link a TDEE calculator in the description below. Sleep's another big important thing. Make sure you get your sleep. Sleep has a lot to do with testosterone. If you aren't getting the proper amount of sleep, your testosterone can decrease and you're not gonna get as much, you're not gonna see the benefit of lifting as much. So try to get your sleep, and I know as an Army bro or military bro, that might be a little harder depending on your MOS, kind of where you are, where you're stationed at, things like that. So I get it, but just keep that in mind. So lifting is good because it will help you succeed in many of the like leadership schools, RASP, like Ranger School, rucking, selection, things like that. There's gonna be no better fitness routine that kind of prepares you for that, in my opinion. You know, obviously you're gonna need to make sure your cardio is in check, make sure you can ruck and stuff, but just general weightlifting, you know, checks all the boxes. You know, you're gonna improve your core strength, you're gonna improve your, you know, chest strength, you're gonna be able to do more push-ups, pull-ups, whatever it is. And this all just translates to succeeding at, you know, these schools. On top of that, lifting's a very painful thing. So, you know, you're struggling, you're pushing yourself. It translates into, you know, getting smoked. You know, it's gonna make you mentally prepared in a sense. I'll go into rucking later, but essentially, you know, weightlifting and, you know, all this this fitness will help prepare you for rucking, because when you're deadlifting, you're strengthening your core, you're strengthening your spinal erector or whatever it is, and your traps, you know, when you squat, your legs, whatever, hip mobility. So, you know, lifting will increase and make rucking easier for you. Because I know that some people, especially at OCS, maybe basic, they have a hard time rucking that 12 miles that you need to do. If you're trying to go to Ranger School, RASP, selection, you're going to be pushing 12 miles, or I think selection might be even more. So, and you have to do it under 3 hours. So you're not just walking, you got to be hitting, I think you have to hit 4 miles per hour in order to achieve the 3 hour goal or standard. So this will help with all of that. Let's see. I mean, that's basically it. This was just kind of a free flowing video. I'm going to actually do a little montage next about just a video of me lifting, I guess, and kind of what my routine is. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm just doing a push-pull legs, sorry. Nothing too crazy. I'm slowly increasing. I'm not where I used to be. When I was living in Japan, I was killing it. I was deadlifting like 500 pounds, squatting 450, benching like 315. Now I'm not really anywhere near that. I can still deadlift 405. I can bench, 265, 275. I can overhead press 185. So I'm still okay, but I'm slowly trying to get back. And I think one of the problems is that I've implemented a lot of cardio since I've joined the Army to make sure that I'm not huffing and puffing when we do rucks or when we do runs, things like that. So right now my pull involves, it's a lot of volume actually, to be honest with you, but I'll start with deadlifts to warm up. I'll do weighted pull-ups. I'll add around like a 45 plate. So I'm about 200 pounds. So I'm pull up, that ends up being like 245, 250 total body weight that I'm doing pull-ups. I'll do, rows. I'll do reverse grip pull downs to kind of hit the biceps a little bit. What else? I will do bent over rear flies to kind of get my rear delts and to kind of hit the traps a little bit. Curls. So that's basically my pull. Recently, what I started doing is, because I wasn't happy with my chest growth and my kind of just lifts in general regarding like bench and chest presses, my pressing movements, I'm going to start Candito's. He has an advanced program. It's like a 6-week program for bench press, and it really stacks on the volume that you're doing for bench pressing. So I bench press every day and do some other chest work every day. So not only am I doing my normal push pull legs every day, I'm adding on, the routine or program that the advanced benching. So that's basically it. You can feel free to watch the video. I don't know, I'll maybe put on some like cool music or something like that. Maybe not so cool. At the end, it'll be like a physique check, I guess. Make sure you guys roast me for my weak physique. Other than that, I hope this was kind of beneficial for anyone who's, subscribed, anyone at OCS, anyone who is, at Bullock right now thinking about going to training. I know some of the people at OCS or that have actually reached out to me, they also seem like they already know what they're doing. But yeah, this is basically my approach. And if you have any questions about lifting, fitness, how I'm kind of approaching it, feel free to reach out and I'll be happy to answer, or send any resources, more plates, more dates. Those type of YouTube channels are probably, that's my #1 recommendation. I mean, like Derek knows his shit really well and he backs it up with studies. So if you're trying to get a more comprehensive look at lifting, that's probably your best bet. But yeah, anyways, Brock Barrera, Second Lieutenant. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.